Live from New York, it's the Cool Kids Club.
It's the Cool Kids Club. You've been invited to the Cool Kids Club. It's so exciting, yeah. Justin likes monsters, yeah. And Amy likes words in the Cool Kids Club. Cool Kids Club.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Cool Kids Club podcast. This is episode number 78, and I am one of your hosts, and one of America's favorite siblings, Justin.
Heyo. Hey, Justin.
Heyo. Hey, Amy. Spoiler alert, you're Amy.
Spoiler alert, I'm Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Your sister of, my whole life. Almost your whole life.
Not my whole life.
Nope. There was
a real solid 2 years I got there.
But we are together, America's favorite siblings, and the hosts of this podcast.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got to do it because you have been traveling and I am getting ready to travel, and we realized a few days ago, oh shit, there's like a couple hour gap.
Like a literal less than maybe 48 hour.
No, like we
window.
need to, if you include work and all that, I mean, really, we got like
work and sleeping.
If you include work and sleeping, we got like a couple hour gap here where we got to record this episode.
We got to record
that's how
this
much
shit.
we care about it. That's how much we care. We're making it happen.
That's how much we care about the people.
Yes.
Because we know that you guys are really jonesing for a new episode Friday at noon, and to deny you of that would just be cruel,
and
frankly.
Selfish. Hey, speaking of ourselves, as we do love talking about ourselves.
That is the real reason we started this.
Well, why
People
else?
They can't get enough.
Why else? As we record this, it is April 1st, April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
And so I officially have, as of this afternoon, the results of the finals of March Madness, which, if you've been keeping up with our Instagram, with our social media, primarily Instagram, is our annual tournament to determine the topic of our anniversary episode. 3 years this year, Amy. This later this month, and it'll be the next episode. So I can officially reveal the topic is Toys R Us.
Oh my god. Cat out of the bag.
Yep.
There it is.
Breaking news, which if you're listening to this, I already have talked about online probably several days ago.
So not so breaking.
No, well, it's breaking in this moment that I'm living right now.
That's true. That is true.
But
it's
we are not here
today.
breaking right now. But we're not here to talk about Toys R Us. That's for next episode.
That's next
Thank
episode.
you guys
so
for voting. We have so much
Yeah.
fun doing March Madness every year.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to that.
Thank you to you, because you're the one that puts it all together.
Oh,
as we've mentioned many times on here.
No problem.
You're the one that is really keeping this thing afloat. I just show up and
no, I don't think that's fair.
I just bring my personality and medium editing skills.
That is all I ask of you.
That's true.
That's all I need.
That's true. That's all I need.
And you deliver. So,
well, thanks.
And what are you going to deliver on today? Because we've established we're not talking about Toys R Us.
I'm going to deliver so much today.
We've got a
big
hell
old
of a topic. Ugh. What does that mean?
No, it's after work, pre-dinner. Y'all are gonna get a good one today.
Again, it's the only time we had.
It is the only time we had. Guys, we are talking about SNL in the 90s.
Specifically in the 90s.
Because, I mean,
because that's what we do. But
obviously, SNL's been around for years and is still around. But we are going to talk about, like we normally do, late 80s, mostly 90s. There's so much to talk about.
There's so much. And this is going to be, in a very real sense, much like the classic 90s SNL sketch, The Chris Farley Show, in which he interviews a very famous person like Paul McCartney or whatever. And
oh my God, Justin, do we have Paul McCartney?
We do.
Oh, holy shit.
Hi, I'm Paul
Sir?
I'm Paul McCartney.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that time that like everybody thought you were dead, and like, was that a hoax?
No, I'm alive. And it'd be like, that was cool. That's what this whole episode is going to be like. It's going to be, Amy, do you remember the Chippendale sketch? And we're going to laugh about it and be like, yeah, I remember this. And then, hey, Amy, do you remember? Coffee talk.
It's gonna be like when we do a movie club, we're just like,
pretty much.
Remember this was funny and this was fun. But you know what? You guys are listening, so like clearly that you're fine with that.
It's working. It's working.
This format is working for us. Just
I
talk
feel
about
like,
how things are funny.
I feel like like all good things in the 90s, it tended to start in the 80s.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
that's
me.
Very true. And me.
And you.
Yeah.
Specifically, the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sort of in order to talk about SNL in the 90s, you have to go back a couple years to the 1986-87 season. There was all this network drama that we're not going to talk about. Lorne Michaels was fired from the show. The whole cast changed. Those were the early 80s Eddie Murphy years. Yeah. He's really the big thing that came out of that.
Big start, yeah.
And you had Joe Piscopo was kind of big at the time.
His big start was not Dr. Dolittle? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
That was not his breakout role.
No, he did a few things before that.
Like he had like a couple one-offs, like one episodes of like he did like SVU.
He was Gumby.
He probably had a lot.
And but no, that's about the only good thing, or the thing that people remember.
Yeah,
from that era. And then you had this weird season in like that. I guess it was the 85-86 season, where it's like when he brought in like Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall. And like how they were all like weirdly on there for like a year.
Oh my god, I completely forgot Robert Downey Jr. had been on.
Yeah, he was on there for I think
weird.
the 1 year. But that's also when you get John Lovitz and Dennis Miller, who I don't know if they were a Dennis Miller fan.
But Nora Dunn.
I
just want to point out real quick, and I know you all cannot see this, but Justin and I are both drinking our beverages as we tend to do from giant plastic McDonald's cups, and I of course have a Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Now, Justin, show me and tell us.
Well, this is Batman Returns.
Today. Yeah, it is.
This is Batman Returns. The ones that came with the glow in the dark
lids,
Frisbee lids. Though I don't have the lid for it, and this is the Batmobile cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wanna.
And despite the fact that it has the McDonald's logo and it has the Coke logo on there, I am drinking the cream soda Dr. Pepper, 0 sugar.
Let's go ahead and we'll get like a quick photo of us with the cups.
Okay.
That we can. Perfect. Now you'll see that on our socials. And then you can share in the love with us. Anyway, I just really wanted to talk about it because I felt like you all would want to know that. Okay. Let's continue.
So late 80s
this was a weird time.
So Lorne Michaels comes back and has this weird season, and everyone hates it. And then he basically revamps the whole cast again. And this is when we get a lot of the people who would be holdovers into the 90s that I think of as the first generation of SNL in the 90s. You get Dana Carvey, Jan Hooks, who we are just
the meat jack.
We are just Jan Hooks stans on this podcast.
Yeah.
The irrepressible
Hooks,
Phil Hartman.
Oh man,
one of my favorite comedians of all time.
Yes.
You get Victoria Jackson and Kevin Nealon. And then in '89, you get Mike Myers early on.
Yeah,
so that's
really
going to
be like.
And this is the era of things like Unfrozen Caveman Lawyer, which I know is a favorite of yours.
God damn it! It's so good. It's just
so he was a caveman. He was a caveman. And then he was frozen, right? But he didn't die.
No.
And then he was unfrozen in modern times, and now he went to law school.
Yeah.
And became a lawyer.
Lots of things frighten and confuse him.
And it was always Phil Hartman's chunky Neanderthal brow makeup always cracked me up too.
It was so
and just his
good.
mannerisms.
I
don't understand.
Yeah. Your ways frighten and confuse me. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of this, you guys. It's going to be us doing bad impressions of people doing impressions.
That's fine. Just do it. Stop talking about doing it and do it.
I am doing it.
Do it!
You know what was one of my favorites from this time as well? Mm-hmm. Toonces.
Oh, Toonces the driving cat.
Toonces the driving cat.
Oh, yeah.
A classic.
A classic. My favorite is the one with Steve Martin.
Oh, yes.
Really, Steve Martin is my favorite in everything that he's a part of.
And also...
Never been a cast member.
Never a cast member. Yes. Yeah. Has he hosted the show the most times out of anybody?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds right.
I loved this. So you always had, like, you had these little kind of sketch. You had, like, commercial parodies. And then these little, like,
they used
one-offs.
to really love to do commercial parodies.
They still do, I think.
Yeah, they do.
I don't keep up with SNL really much these days.
I do a little bit.
But I loved Happy Fun Ball from this era.
That was a good one.
Do not taunt Happy Fun Ball, Amy.
It's happy. It's fun. It's Happy Fun Ball.
Yes, it's Happy Fun Ball, the toy sensation that's sweeping the nation. Only $14.95 at participating stores. Get one today.
Warning. Pregnant women, the elderly, and children under 10 should avoid prolonged exposure to Happy Fun Ball. Caution. Happy Fun Ball may suddenly accelerate to dangerous speeds. Happy Fun Ball contains a liquid core, which, if exposed due to rupture, should not be touched, inhaled, or looked at. Do not use Happy Fun Ball.
So good.
That was, and if you were growing up back then, at the time, you were so familiar with these toy commercials, and then just the commercials that had like a bunch of warnings and a bunch of like jargon at the end, you know, and it just kind of keeps going.
It keeps going and going. Also during this time, Colon Blow.
Colon Blow, that was another good one. Yeah. The Deep Thoughts. Deep Thoughts, I want to...
Oh, Jack Handy.
Brian, Hey Guys, Wakefield, and myself, I feel like bonded real early over our love for Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy. Let's just bring up one here.
Okay, sure.
And now, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Sometimes when I feel like killing someone, I do a little trick to calm myself down. I'll go over to the person's house and ring the doorbell. When the person comes to the door, I'm gone. But you know what I've left on the porch? A jack-o'-lantern with a knife stuck in the side of its head with a note that says, "You." After that, I usually feel a lot better and no harm done.
Those and the David Letterman Top 10 list books were...
God. Bringing the jet fuel to the plane in your cupped hands. I'll never forget that for as long as I live. Isn't it crazy how just certain little things...
Yes.
Just like, I think about that.
Yep,
so
that one
much.
little joke from 25 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, so this was really, after like an era of duds with SNL, you have this cast come in that really starts getting funny again with some of these.
And popular again.
And popular again, yeah. And it sort of leads into the 90s, which can really be divided perfectly in half. Perfectly in half, yeah.
Yes.
90 to 95, 95 to 2000. There's a very distinct... Yes, there are some cast members that are there throughout the duration, but you really have the feel, even, of the skits.
And I gotta say, this, like, looking at this, I'm like, I feel like every generation has their SNL generation. Like, our parents, that original 70s cast, that's their SNL.
Sure, yeah.
And for us, I was like, okay, well, which one of these is like my SNL? Because it really is two distinct eras of the show with different casts. And I feel like both of them. Like, I was like, both of these eras, like all the entirety of the 90s. Because you start with, in the 90s season, you have some of a few come from the year before, cast members, but other than a couple, he revamps the entire cast again.
Yep.
So at this point, you've got Dana Carvey, Jan Hooks is there for a while, Phil Hartman is there, Kevin Nealon's there forever.
Yeah.
Mike Myers, but then you get this new generation
of young, up-and-coming...
the bad boys of SNL. Which are Adam Sandler, David Spade, Chris Farley, Chris Rock, Rob Schneider, and then you've got Julia Sweeney and Tim Meadows, who Tim Meadows is another person who is fucking wonderful in every single thing he's in.
He really is. I feel like him and Chris Parnell, who I'm sure we'll talk about a little later.
Oh yeah.
Have just quietly, like, they're not big giant breakout stars that had their own, well, I mean, you know, Tim Meadows did have the Ladies Man movie, but you know, like, they never broke out and were
I wouldn't
huge.
call that a breakout movie.
No. But they were not huge stars, but they've just consistently been doing hilarious shit since then. And
and every time they show up in something, it makes that thing better.
That's correct. And
I remember there is an episode within the last two or three episodes of 30 Rock, where he shows up, and I remember it made me think, God, it never occurred to me that we needed Tim Meadows on this show, and now I'm mad that it's ending, and I'm like, Tim Meadows should have been playing a character on this show the whole time. He would have been much a perfect
like Chris
fit.
Parnell. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're two examples of comedians who just like probably have never gotten the love they deserve. They're so funny, and like you said, they make everything better that they're in.
Yep.
Yeah. Even if it's one scene.
Now,
and oftentimes it is.
Now, what are some of your favorites from this era? How do you feel about this early 90s era? The Adam Sandler, David Spade, the Chris Farley years.
Yeah. Well, so obviously things like Wayne's World, the Gap Girls, the Lay Off Me, I'm Starving. That one.
I'm sorry. How do you say it?
Lay off me, I'm starving.
Lay off me, I'm starving.
Any of the Adam Sandler Weekend Update bits and songs.
Some of those, you know, I don't know.
I'm just saying that's what I remember.
No, I know. You know, some of the Adam Sandler stuff doesn't hold up for me.
No, it doesn't.
Adam Sandler, it's so adolescent.
It's very, very adolescent.
And some of it's really, really funny. And this is coming from someone who thinks that Billy Madison is, like, that's high art, people.
Yeah. Billy Madison's an incredibly adolescent movie. That also happens to be great. That's the whole point, right? Yeah, I don't know. I have to say, like, I know that we were watching a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff is familiar, but were we not watching it until like later in the 90s?
So I think with us, we were certainly not staying up on Saturday nights and watching this live, but
Our parents were. Probably.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure they were. But it got played a lot in like clip shows, and like Comedy Central would air that stuff constantly.
Okay, and that's what I was thinking.
That was
was it
the best
Central
of Phil Hartman, the best of Chris Farley, or the best of Adam Sandler, and that's how I originally saw a lot of these, and we had a lot of them on tape as well. Kind of, I feel like. Spread out over a couple different like VHS tapes of random stuff taped off TV.
Because I can remember like mom and dad talking about like Pat and thinking Pat was really funny.
Yeah.
And like some stuff that was clearly like before we started.
But I would say the era that you and I were like staying up and watching is that second era, the later 90s with Will Ferrell, with Chris Kattan.
And Anna Gasteyer and everybody.
Anna Gasteyer, yeah.
But I think that honestly we got into SNL and wanted to watch it because we were watching all of these early 90s things on
like
Comedy
I
Central
remember
and things.
even I remember early on watching like I was very young and watching like Eddie Murphy sketches, like
Yes.
like him singing his buckwheat. And
See, okay, that's what I'm saying. Is like I remember. I feel like mom or dad,
whatever's neighborhood and Gumby,
introducing us to those things.
Yeah, I feel like we had a lot of them on tape, and they got aired in syndication on cable a lot. I feel like.
Okay, I was trying to figure out like how were we watching these, because I definitely remember watching all of that.
Oh yeah, like we had
Buckwheat
specials. We had specials taped. James Brown in the hot tub. I just want to talk about now. I just want to talk about Eddie Murphy.
Oh God.
My wife and I sing the "Too Hot in the Hot Tub" James Brown song more than we would probably like to admit, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
Matt Foley. I mean,
yeah.
Can we just talk about the powerhouse that Chris Farley was, and what a goddamn shame
please,
it is?
let's talk about the powerhouse that was Chris Farley. Yeah.
I mean, just what an incredible physical comedian.
What an incredible energy, you know?
Yeah, which was, I'm sure, fueled a lot by the drugs. But yeah, just an incredible talent. And the Matt Foley motivational speaker, I mean, I can remember seeing like that for the first time, and that is the funniest shit I've ever seen. And
that was, and everybody in the sketch is laughing too.
Oh yeah, breaking left and right. Just can't, because he would just take everything, much like with the Chippendale sketch with Patrick Swayze, may he rest in peace. Both of them. Just takes everything to just the nth degree. Just like, I mean, no shame, and really his predecessor, not quite matching the energy, but in the shameless department was Will Ferrell. I felt like,
His
or not predecessor.
Predecessor.
I meant came afterwards. What would that be?
Why have you done this to me? I don't know.
It was a continuation of that, is what I'm trying to say.
Are you saying Will Ferrell was Chris Farley's epilogue?
I don't know. What's the term for that?
I don't know. Move past it.
Move past it. All right.
Move past it.
But I'm saying that once Chris Farley was gone, I felt like Will Ferrell sort of filled that role, in the sense of like both of them were absolutely shameless comedians who would do anything for a laugh.
Can I tell you the story about the Chippendales sketch? The famous Chris Farley, Patrick Swayze dance stripping to Everybody's Working for the Weekend. I may have told this story on the podcast before, but I always think of it when I think of the Chippendale sketch. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of soda. When I was at T.A. Duggar Junior High School, we had like some kind of computer class that we were taking, and this would have been like 97, 98, somewhere in there, maybe 99. Mm-hmm. And they had one of the good ones, and they had a competition. And this was like, it was like brand new. Like I had never done anything like this before. It was a PowerPoint competition, and it was
because like, PowerPoint was new.
So it was like the first time I ever learned how to use PowerPoint, and you're doing like, you know, the swipes and all the different effects and transitions and all that goofy stuff, and just making it whatever. And you had to like pick a topic.
I mean, I'm still doing that sort of thing, right?
Yeah. And we ended up incorporating the Chippendales dance into the PowerPoint. I don't even really remember how, but it was like the centerpiece of this PowerPoint was the Chippendales dance. And they had this competition with the local news channel, and like for whatever, and we won it. And I got an umbrella.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I think of that umbrella every time I think of the Chippendales sketch.
Do you know that just a few years after that, of course, when I was coming up behind you, and took that same computer class that you're talking about. And we had to, of course, learn PowerPoint. We had to do like a fake like destination. We had to learn all about it, and I will still to this day remember that I did the Galapagos Islands. And that was the first time I'd ever learned about the Galapagos Islands. Dem turtles.
Dem
did
turds?
a PowerPoint. Yep.
Look at you.
I know. Look at me. Learning about turtles.
We're really off topic now, but it's weird how you just remember very specific, mundane school assignments from years ago. Like, I remember doing a report on Poland.
Yeah, like what? Mm-hmm.
It was for a geography class, I'm sure. But
yeah. I mean,
anyway.
I know why I remember the whole...
I have a special communion now in my heart with Poland, because I did a report on them one time, and I was like, I learned a lot about Poland.
Maybe I'll go there one day.
Maybe.
Seems cold. Now... What were some of your faves from this era?
I love the guys sitting around a table talking, which is you get. Well, I guess Bill Brasky's a little later. That's like with Will Ferrell, but I was thinking primarily of DeBears.
DeBears, yeah.
And Bill Swirsky's super fans.
Uh-huh.
Again, crazy Chris Farley energy usually.
Oh God, always, yeah.
Mike Myers is so good at playing like the everyman that you know in like different, like he does like a typical Chicago guy when he's doing that. Or like I was watching So I Married an Axe Murderer not long ago, and the character of the father who's just like your typical Scottish guy. Like you know a guy who is ridiculous and acts like that.
Yeah. And that's Mike
he's
Myers.
just so good. He's just so good at it. And then he's also good at sprockets.
Now's the time on sprockets when we dance.
It has become tiresome. Now's the time on sprockets when we dance. My guest has been cross-checked. My name is Dita. I'll be the dance.
Now, do you prefer sprockets or do you prefer Simon? The one where he's the little kid who sits in the tub and he likes drawing.
I prefer Coffee Talk to both of those.
I'm gonna be real with you right now.
Okay.
I don't care for Coffee Talk.
What?
I never thought Coffee Talk was all that funny.
Coffee Talk?
Coffee Talk. I like the voice. The voice is funny, but that's about it. Like it's the same jokes over and over, just like with different like every sketch. Every sketch is
that's what
like,
SNL is.
Well, not always.
Okay, well then, Sprockets or Simon?
Since
you don't like Coffee Talk.
I would put of those. I would probably put Sprockets first, and then Simon, and then Coffee Talk. If I'm doing like Mike Myers joints.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to put Wayne's World first.
Well, obviously Wayne's World.
Yeah, Wayne's World obviously would be first.
Which leads us into talking about the great underrated Dana Carvey.
Oh my god, I love Dana Carvey, and I'm glad that Dana Carvey's like kind of back in. You know, I've just been hearing a lot about him more. I think he's got a podcast and he's doing stuff. And
did he write a book recently, or did I make that up? Maybe.
You probably made it up.
Okay, I may have. Yeah.
It was a dream you had.
One of the greatest sketches of this time, of course, was Church Lady.
Church Lady. I mean, chopping broccoli?
I literally pulled wasn't that special earlier today at work?
Did you really?
I really did.
That's obnoxious.
With a coworker, and she did it back to me because we knew exactly what we were... I mean, like, yeah. I did that earlier. Satan? Could it be Satan? Yeah.
I always love Dana Carvey.
Love a Church Lady.
I loved his stand-up. I loved his movie. I went and saw Master of Disguise in the theater.
The theater?
The theater.
That's dedication.
Yes.
That is dedication.
Can I tell you something that I think about every time I think about the movie Master of Disguise?
Sure.
That
I've never seen it. So,
okay, do you know? Have you seen him in like the turtle suit?
Yes.
Like where he looks, he's like bald and he's got the big turtle shell. He's like the turtley guy.
Yeah.
Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club? While they were filming that scene, 9/11 happened.
Gee, I knew you were going to say that, Justin. I just had a fucking
I don't know why I laughed. I mean, I do, but they
obviously
apparently
laughing at that.
they like had a moment of silence on set and like stood around holding hands and like having a moment of silence while he was in the turtle suit.
Justin. Oh my god. Now I'm just imagining the guy that had to whisper in George Bush's ear. It's Dana Carvey in that turtle suit. It's dead. It always comes back to 9/11 with us.
We're healing. I mean, we're healing.
It's the healing process.
Yeah.
And it was the defining moment of our lives.
Oh God.
Oh, Jesus
Master
Christ.
of Disguise was a pretty defining moment of my life too.
Was it?
Not really. We've touched on a lot of sketches, but I do want to make sure we talk about the political ones. Also, Weekend Update, because you had for this era, Weekend Update's the Norm Macdonald era. It's Kevin Nealon and then into Norm Macdonald. And you get the run of Weekend Updates. What? Dennis Miller. Ugh.
Yeah. Well.
Kevin Nealon. Yay.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald. Big yay.
Yeah.
And then Colin Quinn, who I was never big on.
I don't like his whatever shtick he's doing has never been. I just don't like him. He's like his whole shtick is he's an asshole, and I'm like,
it's a Dennis Leary thing.
It is a Dennis Leary thing, and I'm just like, I understand that may or may not be a bit you're playing, but like I don't love it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. Like, oh, you're an asshole? Cool. I don't know. Like, be sarcastic or be something. I don't know.
Colin Quinn had some. Dennis Leary's a hack, but Colin Quinn's at least not a hack.
No.
And sometimes that show he had on Late Night Comedy Central was watchable. Sometimes.
Colin Quinn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure.
He had like a roundtable kind of Bill Maher-esque show.
Okay.
That actually fit his style of comedy a lot better than it did Weekend Update.
Oh, okay.
I thought. I never thought he was a good
Colin
Weekend
Quinn
Update
always
host.
Seemed like he didn't want to be there. He did not want to be hosting Weekend Update.
Right, yeah.
Which I guess was his whole shtick, and I'm just like, okay.
Maybe are we being too harsh on Colin Quinn?
I don't know. Do we have any Colin Quinn lovers out there? Is that your favorite Weekend Update host? Ooh. Is Colin Quinn? Who
Norm
is
Macdonald,
your favorite week? I was going to say,
it's Norm.
Yeah. Old Norm.
It's Norm.
Big Norm.
Yeah. I love Norm Macdonald. I love his OJ jokes.
Well, it is finally official. Murder is legal in the state of California.
I love his constant Frank Stallone jokes.
Yeah.
I love everything about Norm Macdonald. Dirty Work is also high art, along with Billy Madison.
I have never seen all of Dirty Work in one, maybe ever.
What?
I know. I've seen bits and pieces.
Oh my god, probably my favorite Chris Farley role. Well, I don't know. He had some good ones. He was.
You know what? I'm going to be real honest, and I just told Jesse this the other day. Never seen Tommy Boy.
Are you fucking kidding me? You've never seen Tommy Boy?
And it's running on Pluto right now, so I'm betting I'll be watching it soon.
You probably should.
Never seen Black Sheep either.
I've seen Black Sheep. I've seen
Boy's
Beverly Hills Ninja. I had the soundtrack to Beverly Hills Ninja on CD.
Oh, that's very specific.
I know. Someone probably gave it to me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine I was like...
I don't think I've seen a lot of Chris Farley, like, movies starring him, like, as the lead.
Yeah. But there weren't all that many.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's about it.
I've seen, like, a ton of his SNL stuff, and I've seen, obviously, like, things he was in, like Billy Madison and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's got a minor role in Dirty Work, too. That's really
Well, I know G7 because of you.
G7. Yeah.
G7. Yeah. But yeah, there were a lot of... I mean, people who are like, SNL should stay out of politics. I'm like, SNL has literally always been doing political jokes. Always been doing political humor.
Going back to the very beginning. Why would you not? Why would you not do political jokes? That's what stuff people are talking about.
Exactly. I mean, that's, so when people complain about that, I'm just like, okay, well, you've literally never seen SNL. That's nothing new.
I think that starting with this whole era we're talking about is a golden era of presidential impersonations on the show,
yes.
right? So it starts really with Dana Carvey as George H.W. Bush and Phil Hartman as Reagan.
Yes.
That starts like the great impressions era, presidential impressions era. Then you get Phil Hartman as Clinton.
Yes, which is also great.
Seamlessly transitions from Reagan to Clinton.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah.
And then we get Daryl Hammond as Clinton.
Then we get Daryl. Now, do you prefer Phil Hartman, Bill Clinton, which is like him in the McDonald's, which is still I don't know why it's just one of the funniest. That one always was a favorite of mine. Him in the
as
McDonald's.
much as I love Phil Hartman, I think I prefer Daryl Hammond. When I think of Clinton on SNL, I think of Daryl Hammond, not Phil Hartman.
Yeah, I mean, other than the McDonald's sketch, like that's the one people remember.
Yeah,
it's the one I remember.
Yeah.
But other than that, I like, the actual, I would say that's right.
I think of Daryl Hammond. And he played him longer.
Certainly.
So probably that's why in my head I also think of him.
Because he was Clinton the whole way through Monica Lewinsky and all of that.
And I mean, my God, they had a field day with that.
My God. I also think that an underrated presidential impression, I always thought Will Ferrell did a hilarious George Bush.
Oh, God,
George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Who did Obama? Was it Fred Armisen?
Jesus.
He's not black.
No, he's not. No. They're like, he's like Armenian or something. They were like, close enough. I can't remember. It probably was Fred Armisen.
I think a couple people played Obama. Because I think it started as like...
Didn't Dana Carvey play Ross Perot? I remember that with the giant ears.
Oh, God, yes.
No new taxes.
So he went from George H.W. Bush seamlessly into Ross Perot.
He sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. His Ross Perot impression was so funny.
It was really good.
I remember that being around the first time I was really kind of cognizant of politics. And
didn't our parents vote for Ross Perot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they did.
Big Perot fans in our house.
Weirdos. We were a Perot household.
We stand Ross Perot.
Oh, yeah, there's Fred Armisen as Obama. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's The Rock as Obama.
They probably didn't have any black people on the cast then. Was Keenan on there yet?
Oh, yeah. But he didn't look like Obama.
No.
Anyway.
They've not always been the best at that. But, oh, God.
They've not always been best with gender stuff, too, I feel like.
No.
They have not had a lot of good female... Until, like, the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler. Like, really until, like, the two... Into the
well, I mean...
You really have a lack of notable female talent on the show. You have this gap. So you had the original cast, right?
Yeah.
But then you had this gap, like, no really notable female talent until... Even in the late 80s and early 90s, you had Jan Hooks for a while. Nora Dunn, Pat Sweeney. But that's about it. Really until you get, like, Molly Shannon, Sherry O'Terry.
I was going to say Rachel Dratch, Anna Gasteyer.
Rachel Dratch, Anna Gasteyer, Maya Rudolph. Yeah. But that doesn't start until about 95 or 96. So I feel like there's a long span where there's... And because, I mean, they had their controversies, too, right? Because, like, Nora Dunn got fired.
Yeah.
Because her and the playing musical guest Sinead O'Connor were protesting the show because it was being hosted by Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh, that's right.
And they fired her.
Yep.
Because they were protesting him for being a huge misogynist.
Yep. Yeah.
So anyway,
not been great about that.
So yeah, let's get into this the transition. So you have this weird season, and in So the 95-96 season, you once again have the cast basically rebuilt.
Yeah.
This is when so Molly Shannon, I think, starts the year before. This was also the year when like Janine Garofalo was on for like half of a season, and then quit. And Molly Shannon, Molly Shannon
doing great
takes,
with the women.
No, they're not doing great with the women. Molly Shannon takes her place, and so she starts a little earlier than like this group that's coming in 95-96.
Yeah,
but this is when you get Will Ferrell, Jim Brewer. I was never really a Jim Brewer fan.
Me either.
Daryl Hammond. This is when he comes in.
Yeah.
Sherry O'Terry, we mentioned. Chris Kattan. That's a big one. That's one I would have thought he would have done a lot more after SNL, if I'm being honest.
His career went nowhere.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, I don't want to throw shade at the guy. I mean,
well, no,
I was a fan. I thought he would be big.
You were a Chris Kit fan?
I was a Chris Kit fan.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
And then old Colin Quinn.
Quinn. And then, but you still get Mark McKinney was who I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
I think of him. I mainly think of him from Kids in the Hall.
Kids in the Hall, yeah.
But I forget that he was
Superstore.
on SNL for. Oh yeah, he's really funny.
Think of him
Superstore.
funny. God, he's so funny.
But of course, you get Tim Meadows. He becomes the longest tenured cast member at one point. He's not anymore.
Yeah,
but he's on
Keenan
basically
Keenan.
Keenan's the king.
Yeah.
Norm Macdonald stays until he gets fired.
Well, how did he get fired? What was the?
I think the popular reason, it's never really been made official, but I think people think there was like a NBC executive who didn't like the OJ jokes or something.
Really?
Like that. And then he's brought back like a year later to host, and he does there's a really good. Of course, he does a funny monologue about how he was fired, and then like a year later brought back to host.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But David Spade hangs on for a little while. I'm just like, we're done.
Yeah. You know, I've seen David Spade live when he came to our institution that we work at. Yeah. When I was in
it makes it sound
college.
like it's a mental institution.
Is it not? The college that we work at.
Yeah, no, we got that thing.
They brought him. It was while I was in college.
How was that?
It was fine.
It was. You just described David Spade, except for Joe Dirt.
Joe Dierte, that is high art.
Joe Dierte, again, high art.
High art.
There's a lot of high art with these SNL movies. Yeah.
Superstar, high art. Stand by that one.
I've never seen Superstar.
Jesus Christ. That's one that I watched a lot in high school and college.
I remember you watching it a lot, and I don't know how I haven't seen it. I've seen parts of it, but I've never sat down and watched it.
I actually think that's on Pluto right now. Justin, you should sit down and watch it sometime. It's just as ridiculous as you want it to be.
You know what I was never really a fan of too much was Night at the Roxbury. It was too one note.
The sketch, like in general, I never watched the movie.
Both. I did see that movie in theaters though. I mean, I think I thought it was funny at the time, but it doesn't really have staying power.
No,
it's just kind of like a one note thing.
Now, I did enjoy when Jim Carrey came on and did that with them. Yeah,
another guy who makes everything better when he shows up.
That is true.
Yeah,
that
was pretty good. But yeah,
I was never huge.
Episode. I mean, I guess I can't say I never was because I saw that movie in the theater. I definitely did.
I remember us liking Night at the Roxbury at the time, but I think you're right. Like looking back, like is that a classic sketch that I would still laugh at a lot today? No, it's the same thing every time.
You know what I could genuinely confidently say I was never a fan of. So, while we're on the topic of ones I was not a fan of.
Ooh, okay.
Never liked Spartan Cheerleaders.
Really?
No. Never did it for me.
It wasn't one of my faves, but I did find it funny. Yeah. You know, I think
I prefer the crazy old lady Sherry O'Terry to the cheerleader Sherry O'Terry.
That's true. I think I don't love Sherry O'Terry.
Really?
And I think it's maybe because of the knowing that she was racist and mean to Tracy Morgan behind the scenes.
I didn't know that.
I think her and Chris Kattan were, and maybe this is conflated, I'd have to check my sources, but I'm pretty sure that Tracy Morgan has talked about how they were not very kind to him. I'm not sure. And so I think because of that, whether, and maybe it's just one of those things where it was a rumor and I heard it and now that's in my mind. But I think.
Well, I'm going to have to look it up now. Not right this second, but I'm going to look it up. Because I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah. I think that's always left.
They want to explain why their careers went nowhere. Maybe I do mean to throw shade. I don't know. I'll have to research it.
Yeah, maybe we do.
I'll hold my shade.
Yeah, although Mango
I have all the information. Now I do like a Domingo.
I do like a Domingo.
Yeah.
That was hysterical.
Remember when The Rock was like his son or something? Or
oh yeah, that was the Mr. Peepers and
Mr. Peepers.
Papa Peepers.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a different thing. Holy shit, there's so I'm just looking at this list
Justin,
of sketches that I made. The Ladies Man. I was just watching a Ladies Man sketch as I was waiting for you to get home so we could record. I was like, I'm going to put on a playlist, a YouTube playlist of 90s sketches.
Two fine Christmas hams shoved down the back of her pants. That's what I always think. I think of the Ladies Man.
And they played the Ladies Man where he takes the Viagra, and I hadn't seen that in years, and I was laughing so hard.
That is very good. I'm doing all right. Let me see. I got my Courvoisier here. That's right. And I also got my Viagra. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Yeah, now the Viagra, this is a new sex drug. Now, if you are uninformed about this new scientific wonder, then I will tell you that it is used for a very sensitive problem that some unfortunate men must suffer with. And I'm talking, of course, about chronic fatigue syndrome of the wang. Yeah.
With him talking, just all his euphemisms for impotence, oh
my God,
old man penis.
Again, Tim Meadows.
National treasure. National treasure.
The Delicious Dish, which of course was one of Anna Gasteyer and Molly Shannon's best bits.
I've always been a big Anna Gasteyer fan. Now, what did she do? Is she an anti-Semite or something?
Nope, she's great. I follow her on Instagram.
She put out a really fun. She does music as well.
Yeah, she did a holiday album, didn't she?
A holiday album that was really fun, like a jazz thing.
No, all those ladies from that time, with the exception of Sherry O'Terry, and maybe I'll have to look it up, but maybe I'm misremembering or something. But Molly Shannon and Anna Gasteyer, Rachel Dratch, and then of course you get Tina Fey. And Maya Rudolph.
Because you also have kind of that subgroup that comes in 98.
Yes.
Or so. That's Jimmy Fallon. That's when he shows up. Horatio Sands. That's when Chris Parnell shows up.
Yes.
And then Rachel Dratch, Maya Rudolph. Yeah.
Yeah. All those ladies from that time period, I follow a lot of them online still, and they just seem like wonderful people who are still just Anna Gasteyer is actually on that new NBC show where it's the auto industry. It's kind of like a Superstore-esque. I can't think of what it's called. It's had 2 seasons. She's on that. She's star of that.
Yeah, I've seen her in a lot of TV and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, she's great. But of course, that had the sweaty balls. Which is
yeah,
also Anna Gasteyer as Martha Stewart. Remember when she does the topless
Christmas?
Yeah. She's so good. She's
just
very
her out chopping wood up in Massachusetts and sensible pants and a scarf and a cap with no top on.
That's right. God damn it. Now, this of course was the era when Celebrity Jeopardy started, which I think
Will Ferrell's this is the rise of Will Ferrell.
The meteoric
meteoric rise of Will Ferrell. I mean, you've got, not only is he George Bush once George Bush kind of enters the national scene, you've got Night at the Roxbury, you've got Celebrity Jeopardy, you've got the Culps, Marty Culp. Remember they did the singing?
Oh yeah, the
keyboards.
Another great Anna Gasteyer.
Oh god, she's so good.
She is so good.
Yeah,
she's like You
Bill
have Spartan
Bill
cheerleaders,
Brasky,
of course.
Spartan cheerleaders, yeah. Bill Brasky. I always really liked the Neil Diamond VH1 Storytellers. Do you remember that one?
Vaguely. Also, this is around the time when he does the Robert Goulet. Or does he start doing that a little more in the 2000s?
No, that's here. No, I mean this is Robert Goulet. He does a killer Robert Goulet impression.
Just the topical kind of stuff that SNL was doing.
Yeah.
At the time. It was Robert Goulet.
There was also remember the one where they're working at the cat toy? They're like the Wall Street Bros. Like, it's him and Vince Vaughn. And they're like the Wall Street Bros, but it's like a cat toy company. And they're all like broing out, talking about what you did this weekend, bro. You know, and just kind of being like that. And then they start playing around like cats, like testing out the cat toys. So like,
oh yeah,
I gotta see how this plays, bro. I gotta see how this plays. And then they just start doing like their cat impressions, like batting it around and like just rolling and like showing their belly. And
thank God for Will Ferrell.
Yeah, and his willingness to show his body.
I mean, I know this is later, but the sketch with the American flag.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
Post 9/11 of just like showing the patriotism. I mean, the shamelessness. Yeah. That is really needed in that type of comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be willing
to make 9/11 was so fresh. Idiot. We were not laughing about it back then. No, we're not laughing about it now.
No, we're not laughing about it. Of course not. But
I'm not laughing at it.
No.
I'm not laughing about. I'm laughing with it.
Alongside
that doesn't sound right either.
No, that doesn't sound right.
Move past it.
Yep. I'm laughing at Dana Carvey in that turtle suit.
Don't bring it up again.
Having to do it.
Don't make me think of it again.
Justin, I would be mortified. Could you imagine? There's
got to be a picture somewhere.
There's got to be. Jesus Christ. Some other, speaking of some of the incredible women on the show at this time, you have Molly Shannon's Mary Catherine Gallagher.
Sure, yeah. Talk about Mary. I'll be honest, I was never really a fan of this one.
Oh, now see, that's just crazy.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was okay. It was fine. But,
no, so what were your favorites during this time?
My favorites during this time? Well, I liked the Mango. I liked Celebrity Jeopardy. I liked Ladies Man. I liked pretty much all the political stuff.
Sure.
I loved Goth Talk. Goth Talk. That's
Chris Kattan?
That was Chris Kattan and Molly Shannon.
Yes.
And I'm
Goth Talk was good.
No, you know what I liked was from this era, Saturday TV Funhouse.
Saturday
TV Funhouse. TV Funhouse.
TV Funhouse. Do you mean the ambiguously
and then
gay
let go of
duo?
my show. Give me back my show. Yeah, the ambiguously gay duo. Yeah.
The ambiguously gay duo. The ambiguously gay duo. They are taking on evil, come what may. They are fighting all crime to save the day. They're extremely close in an ambiguous way. They're ambiguously gay. They're ambiguously gay. The ambiguously gay duo.
The ambiguously gay duo. Tonight's episode, a hard one to swallow.
Could you do that today?
To ever come out.
You could do that today, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, gay people certainly have a sense of humor about themselves.
Well, sure. I mean, yeah, that's it, and it's not making fun of gay people.
No, it's not. No.
It's just making fun. Yeah, it's just...
Making fun of two guys who do homoerotic things.
Who are clearly very gay. And just, you know...
No one ever says there's anything wrong with it.
No, because there isn't. But it also just pokes fun at like how ridiculously like homoerotic all superhero stuff is, and how tight those costumes are, and their cars, and everything's very phallic, and I mean it's hysterical. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I think you could do that today.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's probably
it
good.
still holds up in my mind.
Saturday TV Funhouse. TV
Funhouse. TV Funhouse. What were some others that were on TV Funhouse?
Why have you done this to me? I don't remember.
You know, another one I love from this era that went, I think probably started earlier and went on was The Continental.
Well, yeah, The Continental would only be on, that was Christopher Walken, so he would only, when he was hosting. I guess he would do a guest spot occasionally.
One of the, what do they call it? The 10-timers or whatever.
There's
the club they
club,
have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Some secret society, I don't know.
Some secret society where they have the robes. Loved The Continental.
Yes, yeah, The Continental.
Ooh. Also, Colonel Angus. Was that also
It's Colonel Angus.
Colonel Angus. Was that during this time?
It was. I think it was Anna Gasteyer. Yeah, Colonel Angus.
That's another good Christopher Walken rerun.
Also, in the piece of high art, Joe Dirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're talking to my guy all wrong.
Now, we didn't mention this when we were talking about the great Will Ferrell. Maybe one of the most popular SNL sketches ever.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're going to say.
And that would be More Cowbell.
I was watching SNL Live for More Cowbell. I'm pretty sure I was at BroadwayFieldMusic.com's house.
Oh, down in his basement with no windows?
No, I think we were in his living room with his family.
Okay. Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, again, shameless.
Just...
I mean, when that shirt starts riding up, it's just... I love that we got to see the rise of such incredible comedians like Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
Like, during our... Like, we got to see them from these, like...
We've grown up with them.
We have grown up alongside of them. Just like technology. I love technology. Yeah, just...
Old
there's
man's
just...
penis.
There's so many good ones. And I bet... We haven't even mentioned any of Tracy Morgan's stuff. We haven't even mentioned Tracy Morgan, which is insane.
We mentioned the racism.
Well, we did mention the racism. Yeah. That's not how we want to remember Tracy Morgan. Now,
I'm Brian Fellow. Brian Fellow's Safari Planet is an all-time SNL sketch for me.
Yes.
Maybe be in my top. I love Brian Fellows, man.
I felt like Tracy Morgan was criminally underused on SNL.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And I thank Tina Fey for a lot of things, but I really thank her for having him on 30 Rock, because I felt like he really got to
It was
shine.
a better use of his talents.
I mean, he will always be Tracy Jordan to me.
What was the one where the SNL sketch where he's in the sewer? He's like a homeless guy in the sewer, and there's like a famous actress that goes down there and they like sing a song or something. And all I remember is make a doo-doo pie.
Also, I just came across a Tracy Morgan that was Uncle Jemima's mash liquor, and God.
Oh, I do remember that one.
Yeah,
where it's like they're in like the cartoon land. It's very like Song of the South. And he's like, there's all these like butterflies like floating around him the whole time.
Yeah.
And at the end, whoever else is in this, it's like, what are you swatting at? I don't know why that got me so good.
I'm sending it to you right now.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank
Uncle
you.
Jemima's pure mash liquor.
Pure mash liquor.
Oh, God. So good. That may have been when he came back and hosted.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, anyway. SNL in the 90s was incredible.
God, it really was.
It really was. Like, we've mentioned so many bangers. And I'm sure that there's got to be classics we're forgetting.
Now, do you watch regularly now?
Not regularly.
Do you keep up with it at all?
Not as much as I once did. There have been years where we've tried to watch most of them, but it's been a few years since we've done that. Usually I'll watch if it's somebody I really like hosting or as the musical guest. Or I'll be like, I mean, I follow them on Instagram, so I end up seeing a lot of sketches here and there, but I don't sit and watch it. No. But I mean, I keep up with it probably, I guess.
When would you say was the last time? Like who's the cast that you like felt like you last kept up with? I would say for me, like the Andy Samberg, Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig days was kind of the last time I was sort of. I mean, I'm always sort of tuned into it just because of social media. Right. And I end up seeing stuff.
I definitely watched quite a bit of the, like, A.D. Bryant, Kate McKinnon, Beck Bennett, like, kind of 2010s, 2015, you know, I definitely watched a lot of that. And there's a lot of that that's excellent.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that that's really, really funny. But probably in the last couple years, I haven't as much. I mean, there's still great people on there, and I do like it from time to time, but I think since, you know, like Vanessa Bayer and Kate McKinnon and A.D. Bryant, Beck Bennett, Kyle Mooney, like they all left and are doing other things, so it's a lot of newer people. But there's like some really, like, I love Ego Odom and Chloe Fineman who are on there now. They're hysterical. I can't remember if Chris Redd is still on there, but God, he's so funny.
He is really funny.
Yeah, there's some great people that are still on there. I just don't watch it with the regularity that I once did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, you know what's beautiful about it is that there's going to be a whole generation of people where that's going to be their SNL cast.
That's right.
Just like how everyone we've talked about today was our SNL cast.
That's right. Yeah.
I have a book that I want to point out before we take off. And let me get it. It's actually right here on the shelf next to me. I wanted to show you this. This is a coffee table, big coffee table book called Saturday Night Live: The First 20 Years.
Wow.
And I used to get this from the library all the time. When I was in like junior high, I would check this out all the time. And like I had this book like memorized. And but I had never owned it. And then years later, Dad must have found a copy at a thrift store or something because he got it for me, and now I have it. So
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah. So yeah,
I
know the people can't see it, but I'll post a picture of the last 20 years because
yeah.
That's
incredible.
I'm gonna leave that out so I can look at it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely in the mood to watch some compilations of SNL skits.
That's a great idea.
That's a great way to spend the evening.
Let's do a few plugs, and then let's go eat some dinner.
Yeah, let's do that. And watch some SNL. That sounds great.
Great. I've had a very long day.
It's been a long one, yeah. We should decompress with some SNL. If you enjoyed this episode, of course, you can find all 77 of the previous episodes wherever you found this one, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. And if
I'll mail it to you.
You'll mail it. Oh, is it like an old school Netflix?
I'll burn it onto a CD and mail it to you.
Onto a CD.
If you pay, if you
$9.95 shipping and handling.
Yeah, if you pay
4
for
easy payments, $24.95.
Yeah, I'm doing it through PayPal.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have like a Klarna or an Affirm set up where they can break it into 4 payments, an afterpay situation? Perfect.
Yeah.
If you want to follow us on the old social meds, go ahead
Good.
over
Social
to,
media. Love it.
I don't have time for full words, Justin.
No, especially when you have to stop and explain it.
I know. Head on over to Instagram and follow us at Cool Kids Club Pod. Same on Twitter. You can also find us on Threads on Instagram. I don't really do Threads, but Justin does the Threads.
We're on the Threads. We're on the Threads and the Grams and the Facebooks.
And the Facebook.
And
Search for us over there.
The Twitters /X's, whatever you want to call it. We're on there too. So, yeah.
Just
have you shouted out Brian Hey Guys Wakefield? I feel like he's got a lot of shout outs, but we need to specifically shout out BrianWakefieldMusic.com.
That's right.
His trading cards are still here. I haven't seen him.
Brian,
he's been on a cruise. He's been on a boat out in the ocean.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much to the cast and the crew. Our musical guest for tonight.
Who was our musical guest? It was Casey and JoJo.
Our musical guest, Casey and JoJo. My cats, your cats.
Yeah.
Just everybody who made this podcast possible. Thank you so much.
Which is really just me and you.
It's just me and you. Thank you, us.
Thank you, us.
And good night.
Good night, everyone.
Play the saxophone.
And then we all hug, and we shake hands, and we laugh, and we talk.
We just laugh.
And then the credits roll. And then it's time for the news.